Welcome back to Central Florida Spotlight, joined now by State Representative Carlos Guillermo-Smith, Orlando Democrat, and a familiar face on this show. I want to talk about what happened that really triggered some emotion from you, and it was the talk of UCF by one of your counterparts on the other side of the aisle, Randy Fine. You were in that committee when he said what? Tell me what your reaction was to what he said, and then we'll play it for our viewers at home.
Well, I serve in the Higher Education Appropriations Committee. UCF is not only my alma mater, but I represent the geographic district of the University of Central Florida in the Florida House. He openly opined about a project he was working on, a plan to possibly shut down UCF for 5 to 10 years. I don't know where he came up with that. I'm not really sure why folks decided that they wanted to go that route, legislative leaders. But look, I think it's important for your viewers to understand the spending problems that are happening at UCF. We need to talk about them in context. The punishment needs to fit the crime. At the end of the day, a handful of leaders at UCF spent the wrong pot of money to construct a new classroom building to replace an old one that was becoming a hazard to students and faculty on campus. And now we're talking about possibly shutting down the university. He says that was hyperbole. I don't know if they are going to try to enact even more punitive measures against the university. I'm going to defend my alma mater, my district, which is the economic driver in Central Florida, an $8 billion driver in this area. There's 13,000 employees at UCF, almost 70,000 students. We can't be reckless with our rhetoric. What UCF did was wrong, yes, but they're doing everything that they can since then to make up for it. People have been fired, they quit. The president resigned.
But here are those words, that rhetoric that you said could be harmful. This is what Randy Fine had to say.
So my question to you is this. I'm working on a 5 and 10 year potential shutdown of the university. And so how much money of that $1.8 billion and $640 million do you believe you would need next year if next year was the first year of a 5 or a 10 year shutdown because the university refuses to put in place appropriate corporate governance?
Okay, that didn't sound like he was joking. That didn't sound like hyperbole. He was on, of course, on our show just a couple of segments ago defending those comments. Let's say he was, let's say it's hyperbole. There is damage that may have been done that's irreversible when it comes to a student or family making a decision to come to University of Central Florida. React to that.
Look, I want to be really clear. UCF is not going to be shut down, and I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that whatever actions are taken by the Florida legislature this session to prevent this from ever happening again are actions that do not harm the institution and that don't harm students and faculty that had absolutely nothing to do with this. I think it's notable, Greg, that only the House has been engaged in this type of rhetoric against UCF and the state university system. Last week, when Governor DeSantis addressed the legislature, he talked about the state university system in Florida being the #1 state university system in the nation, and that we're going to keep it that way and we're going to continue the course. The Senate doesn't seem to be interested in changing how we fund the state university system. This appears to only be coming from the chamber where I serve in the House. And so what I'm going to focus on is enacting measures that change how the money is spent to give universities more flexibility. Because let's look at the problems that led up to this. We've got a PICO funding problem. PICO is the funding of capital outlay of state university and public school buildings. Universities have not had consistent or reliable access to those resources. Yes, what UCF did was wrong, but it underscores an underlying problem in the state university system. They don't have enough resources to build the buildings that they need to and to repair the existing buildings that they have. Understand that we have a systematic problem as far as access to resources for capital outlay for our state university system. Let's fix it so that this doesn't happen again in the future.
All right, we're going to come right back with Carlos to talk about what he is going to push forward. And one of those has to do with smokable marijuana and not just the medicinal side. That's next.